Russia's sustained drone and missile attacks on Ukraine's critical energy infrastructure has left hundreds of thousands without heating and functioning electricity. It means that Ukrainians face a battle to stay warm during the coldest winter in over a decade, as DW's Max Zander reports.
For more than 2 weeks, this building in Kyiv's Rusanivka neighborhood has had no heating. Alexander Benich lives here. He and his neighbor, Vsevolod, want us to see the living conditions for ourselves.
Take a look up here, where that water is. It's frozen. It was there before. It all drains off and then it freezes again.
The elevators don't run. The staircase is slippery from ice. Alexander takes us to his neighbor's apartment that he looks after. The tenant left. She's now staying with a friend.
So look here, the radiators have burst and the windows have been blown out. This is from a Shahed drone. I think this is interesting to you. Take a look, water. I think this makes it even clearer.
The Russian attacks disrupted the central heating, which caused the water in the pipes to freeze. A Shahed drone exploded just 200 meters from here. The blast took out many of the windows of the building. Alexander takes us next door where he lives.
We fill up these hot water bottles. We try to keep our cat warm. We sleep under 3 blankets. And when there's shelling, I put on body armor. I've got 4 vests like this. And here, we turn up the gas stove.
His wife and daughter have left Ukraine. He takes care of the dog and the cat. Many residents have left the building and are staying with family or friends. Alexander and others have formed a group to try to get help to improve the situation. Small progress is being made. A generator powers the building from time to time. And today, workers are finally taking out the broken radiators. But even if they manage to restore heating, winter will carry on, likely as will Russian large-scale attacks, which have repeatedly targeted power and heating plants. Last year alone, Russia launched 50,000 drones against Ukraine.
With such a huge number of drones, they can attack any small capacity power or heat generator.
With a continuous lack of air defense, workers are struggling to catch up with the damage.
Russians intensified their attacks on energy facilities, depending on cases, from 4 to 20 times. This means that we need to have more equipment, more spare parts. There cannot be any focus about how long this system could survive. But Ukrainian energy companies, energy workers, they have no option. So we just have to repair, to reconnect, because otherwise, like having no energy means the end.
Ukrainians, yet again, are showing remarkable resilience, braving not just the attacks, but also the freezing cold. Nevertheless, the 4th winter of the war is the most difficult so far, and it's especially painful for those who are already struggling. Back in the Rusanivka neighborhood, the city has set up heated tents for people to warm up and charge their phones. In the evenings, an NGO provides food to help those in need.
People sit for months without electricity, without gas, without water, without all of that. How are people supposed to live? That's why we help.
Hot soup and bread, help that goes a long way.
A little help, warmth. You can't really warm up and it's dark.
And as winter drags on, Ukrainians remain caught between freezing temperatures and a war that shows no sign of stopping.
And let's speak now with DW correspondent Max Zander, who filed that report and joins us now from Kyiv. So tell us the latest. Are people still without power in parts of Kyiv?
Yes, good morning. This is another freezing morning here in the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv. And I'm not sure if my microphone is picking this up, but the generators on the street are already working, which means that this street is without power right now. According to Ukraine's energy minister, as of last night, about 800,000 people were left without power. And what most people are experiencing on a daily basis is these so-called scheduled blackouts, meaning they have 1 or 2 hours of power followed by 10 plus hours of blackouts. Because the situation is so dire at the moment, in addition to that, large parts of the city are also experiencing emergency blackouts where the energy just shuts off, which is very difficult to plan your daily life, your cooking, your work. Businesses are affected as well, not just residential buildings. This affects internet and telecommunications as well. But in addition to the situation with the power, which is also very sensitive, is the central heating, which is also affected and has been affected since this period of attack started on January 9th. After the last large-scale attack on Friday night, Friday to Saturday, more than 1,300 residential buildings here in Kyiv were left without heating. Some of them hadn't had heating for more than 2 weeks. In some of them, heating had been restored, and they were left without heating again. So teams are working round the clock to try to bring heat back to some of these buildings. And in some cases, as you saw just in the report, it's just very, very difficult and can't be done in an instance.
And give us we saw your report there, of course, and you're there, you're on the ground for us, Max. So what is your impression of how people are coping with the day-to-day?
Right. I mean, this is not the first time this is happening. People have been living with almost 4 years of war here. Attacks on the energy infrastructure have been ongoing since 2022. But what's different this year is that winter is extremely cold. Right now, I'm standing in minus 7 degrees. Some of these nights we've had minus 15, minus 16 degrees. The intensity of the attacks, the scale of the attacks is a lot bigger than in 2022 and 2023. Last year, 50,000 drones were launched against Ukraine, many of them attacking the energy infrastructure, as is happening right now. So people are dealing with a lot. They're dealing with 4 years of war, not just with the situation of power in their houses, but they are, as I said, showing remarkable resilience, Ukrainians are. We've seen images, videos circulating on social media of people here in Kyiv trying to make the best of it, meeting in the yards for barbecues. There have been videos that have been circulating of people that went viral, that people throwing parties with large speakers and DJ sets, trying to dance for a couple of hours in the cold, trying to make the best of the moment, people enjoying a walk on the frozen Kyiv reservoir, things like that. But nevertheless, you also have to admit that this is 4 years of war. Everybody is dealing with a very, very difficult situation. People are dealing with anxiety, people are dealing with depression, as anybody would in this case. And these attacks just make everyday life a lot more difficult.
DW correspondent Max Zander in Kyiv, thank you.